All right, let's get company specific now. And education tech company Cluey Learning debuted on the ASX yesterday following its $30 million raise. To take us through the first day of trade, Mark Rohald, Chief Executive of Cluey Learning, joins us live. Mark, good to talk to you.
Andrew, thank you very much for having me.
And congratulations on your listing. So are you happy with the way it all panned out yesterday?
Yeah, I think we're really pleased with the support we received from our new and existing shareholders and proud to have listed on the ASX yesterday. We continue to see really strong demand for our services, and now the IPO provides us with the growth capital that we need to continue to scale and grow in our existing markets and invest in further adjacencies. And I must say, I'm really looking forward to having the IPO behind us, getting back into the trenches and focusing on delivering our growth strategy, as well as our half-year numbers in February and then our full-year forecasts in 21.
Okay, so you ended up with a healthy balance sheet there. So just tell us what your growth strategy is, what you'll be using that cash for.
So primarily we're using the growth to fund our core business. We're expanding rapidly. We've seen very significant growth in our customer demand. Our online sessions were up 364% in FY 2020 compared to 2019. And 338% up in Q1 FY 21 compared to the same quarter of last year. And really interesting that October, November, we've continued to see the strong momentum. We're up 261% compared to the same period last year. So this is really going to fuel further growth in the core. And we've identified some M&A opportunities in the adjacencies to our core business.
Yeah, obviously some really impressive figures, particularly during the past few months of the pandemic. Is it not the case, though, that you've clearly benefited from riding the tailwinds of that, obviously that move online that we've seen across the economy? So are you confident you can maintain that momentum?
So we were seeing very significant growth in our core business long before COVID hit. COVID only really impacted school kids in the last week of March this year. And prior to that, we were experiencing very significant growth. Our estimates are that it's probably contributed an additional 10 or 15% momentum and acceleration to the trend that already existed. What's also interesting is that most schools were back to normal by the middle of this year, except for Victoria. And we saw no drop off in the demand for our services. In fact, we've seen further and further acceleration. I think this trend that we always anticipated would occur in the shift to online has continued and is going to continue post-COVID. We're certainly seeing that.
Have you seen any problems? A lot of international students who may be at school in Australia remain stranded overseas. Has that had any effect on your business?
We don't really cater to the international markets. We have some students who are doing our tutoring and our learning support services who are intending relocating here at some point in the future, but it's actually a very small part of our core business.
Okay, all right. As far as competition is concerned, how are you placed? How competitive is this market right now?
Prior to COVID, we had almost no competition. We were the only real providers of any scale delivering online learning support. Post-COVID, almost every individual tutor, learning center, etc., has had to pivot their business to deliver some or other form of online learning. I think the evidence is very clear that when you try and pivot across from an offline business to an online business as a knee-jerk reaction, it's very difficult to do that effectively. We've been built bottom up. It took us 3 years to get to where we're at. We designed our business, our curriculum, our content, all digitally. And I think the core competitive advantage we now have is 2.5 years of learning data and analytics, which enables us to really turbocharge and power the learning process alongside the tutors. And that gives us a 2 to 2.5 year lead against any competition that can come into the market.
All right, Mark. Well, it's certainly an interesting space to be in right now. We will endeavour to keep in touch, obviously, to see how you're riding through that. Thanks very much for joining us from Cluey Learning.
Thank you very much.